Hey, what up guys, it's Jack and welcome back to another video. Hope everybody is having a wonderful day. Chances are when this goes up, it's going to be at the beginning of the day, but depending on where you are in the world, it may be different. But today I wanted to talk about why XDefiant will actually not be a casual experience. So this is kind of one of those, beware videos. Like beware, XDefiant is not going to be casual, or as not as casual as you think. So I'm going to basically go into detail about that. And believe it or not, it's got nothing to do with the game itself. There's nothing wrong that the game itself is doing to that keeps it from being a casual experience. As a matter of fact, it's doing everything that it needs to do in order to be a casual experience as far as pubs go. However, these are not the same times that were, 5 to 10 years ago. Even during the days of Black Ops 4, and this is coming from a person who was very capable of dropping some monster games in Black Ops 4. Even in Black Ops 4, you could still, even as back as World War II, Black Ops 4, you could tell that your average player, I mean, of course, there's always going to be noobs that don't know what they're doing, but your average player back in the day is not your average player today. Your average player today is also, a lot of them, a good portion of them are content creators or streamers that want to make their own content for, whatever type of channel that they are. They are people that are inspired to perform well in games and such and such. And remember, when things were super casual back in, like, let's say 2012 or 2013, in comparison to how they are now in terms of the average capabilities of your average player, content creation and everything like that was still to a certain extent in its infancy. Let's say YouTube, I believe, was created in 2005, and it was around the late 2000s or at 2010 at the very latest to when you started seeing names pop up. I mean, if anything, there was it was only like maybe a couple of years later. So it was around the times of COD 4, somewhere around there, right? So which would be 2007. So again, gaming back then, compared to what it is now, completely different. So many people, like I remember back in 2012, people were still kind of wondering on how to make good content. They were content creators that were making content on how to be a better content creator, et cetera, et cetera. But right now, this is routine. This is no different than any other day and any other time. People know how to capture, people know how to edit, people know how to play a game in a way that they've never played before. Remember, esports and competitive gaming and just gaming in general in terms of getting paid to play games was in a different spot in comparison to where it is now. In some ways it's better, but at the same time, in some ways it was better when you look at competitive gaming, but at the same time, when you look at people's desire in terms of what they want to be and in terms of them being inspired by these people, well, this is about a decade later. Like, look at 2012, 2013. This is 10 years later, folks. And these people that were inspired or that grew up playing the games that we made content on, or just playing the games that we that we play today, it's like, yeah, of course these players are going to get better, these players are going to get really good. Remember, the times are not the same. Times have changed, and people in general are way better now. It's a good thing that there is no SBMM and casuals in XDefiant, but that's not going to stop the game from being sweaty. Now, does that mean that it's going to be as sweaty as what you see in Call of Duty with the EOMM and SBMM in there? No. It doesn't mean it's going to be as sweaty as ranked matches in how XDefiant are going to be. That is a big question mark. Probably not, because you're probably not going to see as many teams, and there's not going to be callouts. I mean, that's one of the things that still remains prevalent. When people are competing, they're doing callouts, and obviously they're full-on teams. When people are not competing and they're just playing pubs, even if they're playing together as a team, they're playing usually as a smaller team, and they're certainly not doing callouts. Although I'm sure there will be a handful of people that will do that because they want to be, they want to be playing competitive pubs. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I'm pretty sure it's already been done already in other games. But listen, guys, a lot of you guys, I remember during the beta, one of the two betas or both betas, people were saying, oh, Mark Rubin lied, there's SBMM in the game. Like, no, there's not. There's no SBMM in the game. And it just so happens that people are better now. People, as a matter of fact, because of the popularity of what Call of Duty and what Call of Duty was, if there's any game that people know how to play better than any other, competitive multiplayer game, it's an arcade first-person shooter, because that's what Call of Duty was, and Call of Duty was the #1 arcade shooter. And to this day, it still kind of is, but I don't know. I personally don't think so, because there's Warzone and all that kind of stuff now. In terms of multiplayer, I don't think it's as popular as it once was. for a multitude of reasons, but that's not what this video is about. But at the end of the day, back in the day, it was the most popular first-person shooter from a multiplayer perspective. So now it's like, I mean, look at for instance, look at Fortnite, for instance. Like when you had Fortnite and Apex Legends and all that kind of stuff, there was no quote unquote pro battle royale, right? But apparently now there is. Again, I haven't looked much into it, but apparently there is now pro battle royale players or whatnot. So I'm like, huh, really? So you guys get it, right? So when you translate that kind of philosophy onto to XDefiant, it's like, yeah, of course, people are just better now. People are better now than what they used to be. So before XDefiant releases, just remember, guys, remember this video and remember my words. You are going to struggle a little bit more than you have previously. And try not to pay attention to these content creators that are dropping monster games. I mean, really, just don't pay attention to that. Remember, that's a whole other subject, if anything, in and of itself. Now, I'm not saying that they're all illegit, but at the same time, remember, when you've got all day to play a game and you're playing the game for 6 to 8 hours a day to capture footage and to get to know the game and stuff like that, trust me when I tell you that you are going to be dropping, these monster games. You're going to be dropping these monster games. That's going to happen. But does it happen like as often as it did back in the days of 2012, 2013, and around that era? The answer to that question is it doesn't. It doesn't. People have gotten better. People have been inspired. It's just not, the times are not the same anymore. So, like I said, again, you're still going to find those lobbies to where, naturally, you're still going to find those lobbies to where people just seem to like not have thumbs or don't know what the hell they're doing. But in terms of the amount of frequency or how often you find those lobbies is considerably less, significantly less than what it used to be. So do not immediately call out skill-based matchmaking, or do not immediately assume skill-based matchmaking when you get, when you're struggling in the game. It doesn't mean that that's the case. Same thing like if you're struggling in a game against somebody who happens to be doing very well, you don't automatically want to assume that that person is cheating. You kind of give them the benefit of the doubt until evidence says otherwise. But even though there's a hell of a lot of those too, that's another thing. There are a lot more cheaters today than there were back in the day as well. Crossplay and everything else that goes with it. But even without crossplay, you still got Cronus Zens and all that stuff. So if you are playing the game legitimately, just remember that there's still going to be a percentage of those players. Even though I talked to Mark Rubin, I tweeted at him and he responded to me, and I made a video talking about it, to where they were looking into banning, things like the Cronus Zen and stuff like that. But there hasn't been any update or anything like that ever since. But yeah, that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. Like beyond anti-cheat, as far as console goes, there needs to be something in place that will ban things like the Cronus Zen. I don't think those things belong in multiplayer, and especially in a casual. Actually, it doesn't belong, period. The game needs to remain as pure as possible. It needs to be on an even playing field as possible. So remember, even if things do end up being as even as possible in the year of 2023, I just want everybody to remember that not as casual. It's not going to be as casual as you remember it. Simple as that. It's not. So the layer of difficulty is going to be a little bit thicker than what it was from what you remember back. So remember, guys, it doesn't mean that there's going to be skill-based matchmaking in the game, or it doesn't mean that they've implemented it and just made it lighter. It just means that people in general are better now. Your average gamer is better now than what they were back in the day. There's a lot more knowledge that has been obtained over the years now that is common knowledge that wasn't back, as early as 7 to 10 years ago. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to make that video just so that way you guys, it was an interesting subject to talk about after I got out of bed and hit the showers. It's like, yeah, I'll talk about this today, and I'm glad I did. So I want to also know your input in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you agree with with what I'm saying? Do you disagree? How do you see things? What are your experiences and all that kind of stuff? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you all very much for taking the time to watch and or listen, and I will catch you guys on the next one.